Hey folks, well I'm playing the 5 Things tag game and I got tagged by 2 people. I got tagged by Cheeseball and by Dale Hanks. And so here's a few things about me. 1, I'm a first-generation American. Both of my parents were born in Poland, and so in the house they spoke English, but they incorporated Polish words inadvertently. And so when I went to school, kids would make fun of me because I would have strange words. Like, for instance, I would use them. And I didn't know that they weren't English because my folks just used them because they didn't know the English words. For instance, Polacks have a great name for snot. Great. It's called smara. Smara. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, I am an only child, but I do have a second family, and we'll get to that. Number 3, I had very permissive parents, so that when I was around 16, even though they said, you know, we would like you not to smoke pot, but you're 16, so I guess if you want to, you can. And so I could smoke pot in the house. And I had a really small room, and my mom was she's dead now, but she was very outgoing and used to try lots of things and always liked to try new things. And my dad said, don't do all these things. And so, like, she wanted to go parachute jumping, motorcycle racing. She did a few of those things. She was really athletic and into trying things. So what she did was she would come into my room, and she wouldn't talk about pot or anything. She would just say, do you mind if I just hang out here for a while? When I was smoking, because you could smell it, and I had a room with the AC recycling, and she would get a contact high, which would be easy to do, and she never actually, you know. Okay, that's that one. The next one, I am bipolar, so I take this stuff over here, little pink caplets of lithium carbonate. And it's interesting because I wish I was taking this stuff earlier. It took about 15 years to get a correct diagnosis for me, and which, for folks my age, that's totally normal. But God, that's terrible. And an interesting thing, a very interesting thing happened to me, and it affects my outlook on stuff. What happened is that I was in a deep, deep depression. And the psychiatrist gave me an antidepressant. A very small amount. It takes 3 weeks to work, in theory. But if you're bipolar, then it could work very quickly with rather disastrous results. And in my case, what happened was I went from being utterly depressed in 1 week's time. The medicine normally doesn't work. It takes 3 weeks. It was the old style tricyclic antidepressants. I went from deep depression with psychotic features, past normal, into a manic state, just on the edge of losing reality testing. Thought I could move things with my mind. Not thought, I mean, sure I could, because when you're delusional, you lose doubt. Anyway, that might be interesting for a topic for another video. But what happened was I went there very quickly. And on the way up through normal, semi-normal, what occurred to me is nothing has changed. And what I mean by that is, my logical mind was saying, nothing about my life circumstances have changed in this moment. And yet I feel terrific, excited, euphoric. And I'm really excited to do all these crazy things with life. Whereas literally seconds ago, in my case, literally seconds ago, I wanted to die. I couldn't see the purpose of life. Everything was meaningless. And I think that has a lot to do, obviously some of it was already there, but that perspective had a lot to do with my idea of running parallel programs. In other words, one looking at the intellectual, the rational, and the other, the emotional. And of course, when I went past that point, I lost that idea until I came back, but that was kind of an interesting thing. Finally, and this is the fun one, I had a chance to live out a fantasy when I was 19 years old, and that I guess we would call the young divorcee fantasy. But this was when I was pretty much in the upper stages of hypomania. So when you're in that stage, you sort of lose some ability as far as how you make judgments, your ability to make judgments. And in a way, I was kind of glad it happened, but I'm not sure what would have happened if I wasn't in that state of mind. But basically, I was lifeguarding at a housing community, and I met this girl, and she was 19, I was 19. She was pretty, and we got along, and we were dating, and we were hanging out at her big sister's house. And we were spending a lot of time there because we could kind of stay over, and everything was good. So there was little sister and big sister. Now, big sister had recently gotten a divorce from an older rich guy, and she had a nice house and a nice car. And what happened is that one evening, little sister and I were making out on the couch, and big sister was sort of staring. And the sisters were somewhat competitive. And what had happened is that little sister said to big sister, "He kisses real good. You wanna try?" Thinking that she would be too shy or embarrassed, and that would be the end of that, and that would put her in her place for staring. But what happened instead is that big sister said, "Yeah, sure." And I found myself walking up to her and kissing her. Now, I guess I can blame whatever state of consciousness if I want at this point, or not. But big sister was like pretty hot, and turns out she was really, really bright and very creative. And well, what happened is little sister got very pissed and sort of disappeared, because I guess that wasn't the outcome she was expecting. Although I was really pleased with the situation. And man, I'm just a kid, and this is just kind of like, okay. Anyway, big sister says to me, this is all real. You can't write this. The writers are on strike. Says to me, well, let's pick up some pot. You wanna come with me to pick up some pot? I don't do drugs, but this is just, I can't help it. Don't do drugs, but anyway. So I said sure. And so on the way over, she looked at me and said, and this was designed to be a cheesy line, and she was kind of doing that on purpose, and I was clever enough to pick it up, but it was hilariously wonderful. She says, "Have you ever slept on satin sheets?" And I said no. And she said, "I have satin sheets." Well, when we got back, it turned out that little sister was gone, which worked out pretty good, and one thing led to another. We had been smoking on the way back, so one thing led to the other, and it was all kind of smooth. And anyway, it turned out that she invited me to live with her, and there were lots of cool adventures that followed that. But for me, it was a wonderful time of my life. And it turns out she had a son, and I was actually living there for some time, and we became very close, and I'm kind of like his dad. And I just saw him on Sunday, 2 days ago. He's got a family, a couple little girls, his wife, and we went out on Biscayne Bay and had a really good time. And this March I'm going to go see them. He was in Miami. I'm going to see them, and they're in Alabama, and it's kind of fun. Anyway, I'm now going to tell you who I am going to tag, and I guess I'll do that in a separate segment. Take care, folks. I'm going to tag Curtilin3 and Brigidshine, and there's 3 folks that have logged on to YouTube recently but haven't made vids in a while, and they all make really good vids. askegg, Lirpa69, and KT45. You're it!